Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews, and it's a pretty small week. But the surprising thing is there's a lot of really good titles this week. So yeah, let's just get going. First up, we have Batman: Dark Age #1, written by Mark Russell with artwork by Michael Allred. This is a kind of spiritual title that they did a couple years ago, Superman Space Age, where it was just kind of a different take on Superman. And what Russell has done here is he's kind of reinventing Batman. It's still Batman, but kind of telling it in like a different way. So basically, the premise is that Bruce didn't go out with his parents to go see the movie. Now they still get killed, but he doesn't, obviously he wasn't there, so he doesn't have that, kind of will to become Batman right away. And so he really, in this first issue, he becomes a spoiled rich teenager, gets into trouble, and, the lawyers always get him out. But of course, when he, part of it with the will is he's supposed to take over Wayne Enterprise. Well, he's too young, and then the board takes over, and the board is kind of, we know that there's something going on with the board, and there's definitely a twist at the end of the first issue, which I will not give away. But it's interesting because it's a different way of, kind of telling the same story, but just at a different angle. What's interesting is he does run into Selena. He actually runs into her at the police station, after Alfred comes and basically bails him out. And it's just really intriguing. And then, of course, you have the wonderfully gorgeous Michael Allred artwork, which is just absolutely fantastic. So this is really interesting. I mean, it's kind of a it's not a Black Label book, but it kind of is in a way. But it really is just really quite good, because you're just like, oh, okay, he's gonna tell the, Russell's gonna tell the origins. Like, no, not quite. So, like I said, I really like this first issue. I mean, I really, for me, I'm a really big Mark Russell fan, that. And of course I love Michael Allred, and, they set the bar really high with Superman Space Age, and definitely this is just as good as that book. And that book was absolutely amazing. So, definitely a must buy book this week. Next up, we have Black Hammer: The End #6, written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Machali Ward. So this finishes the final story in the kind of current Black Hammer universe. And so basically, it's really about Lucy Weber, kind of becoming the Black Hammer again to save the universes from the anti-god. And as I said with previous issues, really the best way to describe this is basically the Black Hammer version of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if you're going to use a story that's been told before, use a really good one. And Lemire is really smart in doing that. But I think what the difference with this one is, obviously Crisis was with the whole DC universe, and this is obviously the Black Hammer universe. But the thing about it has always been about the characters, and even in this last issue, it's really, it's an emotional roller coaster ride with a lot of these characters that we've lived with for 10 years, and so it's really interesting how he wraps up this story, and he has said that this is the last story that he has for Black Hammer, but he has hinted that there may be more stories in the future. Could be completely different characters and stuff like that, which, would be, interesting, or he could come back and do some of these characters again. So, it's the end for now. I think that's the best way to put it. once again, it wraps up really nicely. Ward's art's really nice. It has some really nice big splash pages and everything. The wraparound cover is just amazing. I'm a big fan of Black Hammer, and if you haven't read, certainly you need to read a lot of Black Hammer before you can read the end to really get a lot of the storylines that are going on. But overall, I thought it was a really solid ending for this story and for the universe as the Black Hammer universe as we know, right now. So hopefully maybe down the line, Lemire will get that itch and maybe want to do some more Black Hammer stories. So fingers crossed on that one. But anyways, I really enjoyed it. Next up is Ultimate Spider-Man #3, written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by Marco Cicchetto. So in this issue, so basically, what it is the maker has decided to kind of change this version of the Marvel Universe. So everybody's a little different in this one. And in this one, Peter married Mary Jane. He has 2 kids with her, but he never became Spider-Man. So Tony Stark basically, told him, hey, you actually have you have another path in your life. So he becomes Spider-Man. So in this issue, we know that the Green Goblin has been attacking Fisk's warehouses and stuff like that. So he has hired Bullseye to go after and take care of the Green Goblin problem. Well, Spider-Man kind of runs into them fighting and helps out and everything. And then shall we say that Peter's secret identity is revealed. That's an interesting twist in the story. And then we also kind of have the continuing subplot with Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. They're going to start their own newspaper because they were unhappy with the way Bugle was being kind of run basically by Fisk. And, so they're just, they got a new office, which is kind of a dump. But, it'll be interesting to see how that subplot, how it's playing in. And then, of course, we learned last issue that his daughter found out who Peter was. And there's actually a really cute moment where she actually helps him decide what costume he needs to wear. So I'm not going to spoil that, but that was actually a really, really nice nod, both in the story and art-wise. Hickman's doing a really good job. I'm really enjoying this. It's a good, I think what I like about it is it's a good new, Spider-Man story for people that don't, because there's not a lot of continuity involved and stuff like that. Now there's nods and winks to the Marvel Universe and things like that, but nothing that you can't, that reading it'll be perfectly fine. Cicchetto's artwork is really, really nice. It's a really good looking book. I'm really liking what they're doing here, and it'll be interesting to see, especially after this issue where they kind of take the story that we know and kind of twist it around a little bit. So still well worth checking out. Next up, we have Zorro the Man of Dead #3, written and drawn by Sean Gordon Murphy. So this issue, El Rojo and the cartel are, pretty pissed off at Diego, because he's really messed things up. And of course, his sister Rosa has gotten involved now. She just thinks he's kind of, lost it, but he really, he believes he's Zorro, but it's more than just that. He's trained and everything. So it's not, Rosa, being kind of the bigger sister, wants to take care of him, and yet his calling is to actually take care of the town. So that's really what's going on in this issue, and basically with the cartel and everything being super pissed, they burn down the church. So it's really up to Diego and Rosa to really save the town. So that's where we're going. In the next issue, we'll wrap everything up nicely. But it's once again, it's Sean Gordon Murphy. As far as the artwork goes, it's really amazing. But I really like what he's doing with this story, because he is capturing what Zorro is, but he's kind of bringing it to a new generation, which is really a nice thing to do. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's just excuse me, introducing it to a new generation, and that I really, really like, and it's really an enjoyable book. So definitely still well worth checking out. Next up, we have Feral #1, written by Tony Fleece, with artwork by Trish Forrester and Tone Rodriguez. So this is the same exact creative team that did Stray Dogs, and so what they did, the tagline is basically what we did for Stray Dogs, we're now doing for cats. So what it is there's three main cats that are in that have been caught by animal control. And so it's Lord Fluffy Britches, Patch, and Elsie. And so what it is they're being transported in a truck. The truck goes off the side of the road, and they end up in the forest, and they're all domestic cats, so they're kind of like out in the wild, and they don't know what to do. So they're just trying. Lord Fluffy Britches is kind of missing, so the other two are looking for him, and they come across of course, wild animals in the forest, but the wild animals are not just wild; they're rabid. So that's what's going on. There's a case of rabies going through the forest, and that's kind of where the cats come in. I don't want to give away too much. It's a little less, it is kind of a horror story, but it's not as so far as creepy as Stray Dogs was. That was a totally messed up story, but Fleece gets this off to a good start. This first issue, Forrester and Rodriguez's art is really, it's kind of like, like you say, it's kind of a Disney animated film that's a horror film. And so this is kind of like, it's that same premise as Stray Dogs, as far as tone and everything, but just a different thing. And I like the fact that Fleece has taken this story in kind of a different direction. I mean, he could have just kind of redone Stray Dogs, hey, it was successful, we'll just do it again. And, on the surface, you think, oh, yeah, he's just doing it with cats, but it really is a different story, and I did like it. This first issue is setting up a lot of stuff, so there's exposition, but it's off to a really good start, and I think it's well worth checking out this week. Next up, we have Duke #4, written by Joshua Williamson, with artwork by Tom Riley. So basically, Duke was captured by some of his team members because the government basically says, he's gone off the edge, and so he was put in prison with the Baroness. So Cobra is going to break. They want Duke, because he knows the secret about the Energon. And kind of, that this is part of that whole Energon universe with G.I. Joe and the Transformers. And so they hire this hitman to take an army in to go get Duke, and of course they break out, and of course they make their way to the basement, and they find a lot of they don't find weapons, but they actually find tanks and planes and stuff, and they're like, well, we can use these against them. So that's interesting, and there's a big reveal at the end of this issue, which I will not give away. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a surprise. It's more of like, oh, it's him, and that's different. So it was very interesting in that respect. But Williamson's doing a really good job with the script. I really like it. And Riley's artwork is just absolutely perfect. Really good looking artwork. And once again, as I said, I'm not necessarily a big G.I. Joe fan, but this is really a solid book. So definitely still worth checking out. Next up, we have Somna #3, written by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lote, with artwork by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lote. So this is the final story. So basically, it's really been like, it's 3 issues, but because it's double size, it's like a 6-issue miniseries. And so so in this issue, we finally come to a head because Ingrid, because of her nightmares with this kind of I guess you could say Shadow Man, who is she's having erotic fantasies at night. So the question has always been, is she dreaming this? Is this like a demon? it's in some ways, what has been very interesting is it's very, a lot of stuff is not necessarily spelled out, which has been very interesting with the story throughout. Because like when when her husband, Roland, hears her, making noises at night, you wouldn't, at first you think, well, there may be, sexual noises, but they may not be, because she's kind of having these nightmares. And of course, her husband is also the local witch hunter, and so the whole thing kind of gets wrapped up with her and the priest, because she gets blamed for one of the murders. And and then of course, it goes to hell in handbasket after that. She's accused from being a witch. She's going to be burned at the stake. But what's kind of interesting is, in some ways, Roland could be considered a villain, and he's kind of played a little bit that way. But I think what's interesting is how they kind of tilt that a little bit in this third issue, where he still loves her and everything, and he questions in a lot of ways, he kind of questions this whole witch hunt thing. Because obviously, it's one thing when it's some stranger, but when it hits home, he kind of has that, like, hey, maybe this isn't like, like all it's cracked up to be. So, it was really interesting, and I also like how the book ended with, like, it doesn't really give you answers in some respects. The question is Ingrid a witch? It's, that's kind of up to the reader. Is she having nightmares, or is this actually a real demon? Once again, really kind of left up to you. And once again, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's how you interpret the story, and that's a very bold thing, especially doing comics. And it's hard to pull off, but I really have to give it to both Clunan and Lotte that they do really pull this story off. And I think it's one of those books that when you go back and reread it, because obviously certain things, I think you're gonna see a lot of different things that you didn't quite notice the first time on the surface. I think there's once again, there's a lot of layers to this story. And then of course, the artwork is absolutely fantastic. Clunan does, kind of the reality, kind of the real world, and Lotte does like the dream sequence, and it just blends together so well. It's just it really been a gorgeous book artwork, but story-wise, it's been actually quite fascinating. And I think also, with the subject matter of the time period that it's set in, having this story told from a woman's point of view, I think has been really just amazing. And I really, Distillery, I'm really impressed with so far all of their books. So they're really batting 1,000. So definitely, there is going to be a collection of the books. I think it's coming out in June or July. So definitely, if you missed it, definitely check the book out. Especially, like if you're fans of their artwork, the story by Clunan and Lotte is definitely lives up to the really great artwork in the book. And finally, this week we have Masterpiece number 4, written by Brian Michael Bendis, with artwork by Alex Maleev. Get that out, Maleev. So basically what it is Emma is the daughter of these two kind of super spies, and she didn't really know what her parents did, and we find out that they screwed over Zero Preston with their biggest heist ever. So now he wants revenge on her. So she's been gathering this team together of newer people, and then people that knew her parents or were involved in the spy game back then. So what it is Zero has hired, kind of hitman to go after Emma, because he wants her to pay for what her parents stole. So it's kind of so now there's kind of this cat and mouse game going on with the two of them. And so Emma's she wants to get, revenge on him for what he has done to her parents and kind of her life now. And but she's she doesn't know that she needs to get her hands dirty, so the bag, the basically the mercenaries show up, and she's like, well, I have this information, I know all your guys' names and address, I know your family, and I'm gonna tell everybody that you're bad guys, and then they're gonna come and kill you. Which is all great, but then the Paragon is in the background waiting, and he just beats the snot out of them, because that's his MO. He doesn't kill them; he just beats them up pretty bad. So he's basically the muscle of the team. So there's also a twist, because she finds another member for the team that is related to Zero Preston. So that'll be interesting. I actually really kind of dig in this book. I like kind of the slow burn, the way that the story is going, and just kind of peeling back the layers. I think it's also going to be a book that's really going to read really well when it's all together. But I'm actually enjoying it as it's going along. Each issue is kind of giving you a little bit more, but not giving too much away at the same time. So Bendis is really he's really just nailing it on this book. I really like this, and Malev's artwork is really fantastic. It's a little bit different for him, but I like it. I like the style that he's doing the artwork in this book. So it's still well worth checking out. I've been really quite surprised by this book. I really like it. That's going to do it this week. Like I said, it's a pretty light week, but there's a lot of strong books, a lot of big books, actually. So as always, public service announcement, I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner runs a great store. He loves comics. And what's better than a comic store owner that actually loves comics? But it's great. He offers discounts on the trades and graphic novels every day. They have a nice manga selection. He's really been beefing up the all ages section. That's been a really big thing. He also has a local section for people, for local artists with their comics and their prints and stuff. And it's really a good comic store. If you're in the Long Beach area, definitely check it out. It's my local comic shop, but hey, it can, it is really well worth the trip if you're in the area. Also, Annie, Wendy, and Derek runs their socials. So check out their Facebook group, and they post videos and stuff all the time. And if you start a pull list with them, if you pull I think it's like a minimum of 10 books a month to get the discount, but you'll get a discount on your comics. So that's a good deal, and plus it helps him with kind of ordering. So but as always, I always say, please support your local comic shop. They're the backbone of the industry. And before we end our show, just to let everybody know, this weekend is WonderCon in Anaheim. That's San Diego Comic Con's kind of sister show. That's this Easter weekend. I will be there all 3 days. So if you see me, say hi, stop me. Hopefully I'm really excited. They've got really good guests, a lot of good panels, and the one thing I really like about WonderCon is it's the artist alley is just absolutely amazing, because there's a lot of local talent, because of Hollywood, the animation industry. There's a lot of people who have like 9-to-5 jobs, but they do stuff on the side like comics and prints. You can find a lot of really good things there. So definitely I'm very excited about this weekend. So definitely check it out. If you live in the LA area, definitely it's well worth coming to. And as always, we end our show with Be Kind. Right there, see our little bee. Being kind is just really a good thing for both you and other people. Just, like opening a door, saying hello, acknowledging people's existence, really makes a big difference in life. And the other thing is to be kind to yourself. I know times are tough. It's really tough out there. I know a number of my friends are, they're out of work, they're looking for a job. It's really tough out there. But being kind to yourself is just very important to take care of yourself. Like I said, I know it's tough, but just take care of yourselves and take care of each other. That's the other thing. And once again, it's going back to being kind. So that's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. As always, Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please share our videos. It's great. And once again, I will be at WinterCon this weekend. So if you see me, say hey. And just say, hopefully you like the videos and I'm not annoying you too much. So anyways, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. This is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. Have a good week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.